Do I believe that Beam could hypothetically go to the price of $1 during this bull run? I think so. And of course, that's not financial advice and not a guarantee. But the reason for that is because I believe Beam has rock solid fundamentals. After all, it's an open source blockchain specialized for gaming. And most notably, when it comes to Beam, it's very well known for its Beam SDK. Now, this stands for Software Development Kit. But besides that point, it's even been stated that when it comes to this, right, it allows game developers to choose from a variety of tools that can be used to fuel and structure their in-game blockchain elements. Now, I think this right here is fantastic because if you think about it, even despite the hype for blockchain gaming not being the best, even despite a lot of the fans leaving, I still think better days are ahead because, for instance, according to Grandview Research, the blockchain gaming market is expected to be worth over $300 billion by 2030. So you only imagine that, right? That's not even that far away at this point. We're nearing 2025. We're just a couple months away. So this is basically like 5 years from right now. This is kind of insane. That's bigger than some countries' GDP. So when you take a look at blockchain gaming, yes, the hype isn't, the best, but I think better days are ahead. And once the hype for it just, goes back in again, guess who's going to be there to catch that? It's going to be something like Beam. And I really love that. They're anticipating something as opposed to chasing it. And I always think that's the right move. But yeah, of course, besides that point, there's more. Because, for instance, we take a look at how the Beam ecosystem is very diverse. For instance, we take a look at BeamSwap, a decentralized exchange. I think this right here is fantastic because if you take a look at a decentralized exchange, of course, it does fall under the category of the DeFi market, aka the decentralized finance market. But even besides that, I still think this is an amazing market because, yet again, according to Grandview Research, because, they like to predict things after all, by 2030, the DeFi market is expected to be worth over $200 billion. So yeah, BeamSwap, that's a genius move in my opinion. Also, let's not forget about the Beam Layer 0 bridge, a bridging solution to transfer tokens between Beam and other blockchains. That's amazing. You also take a look at Sphere. And no, I'm not talking about the Sphere in Las Vegas, even though it looks awesome. Even besides that, this is actually, an NFT marketplace. And I think NFTs also have a bright future because you're probably, going to be like, oh man, Grandview Research again. But yes, because they do predict that by 2030, the NFT market, much like the DeFi market, is going to be worth over $200 billion. So yeah, that's fantastic. So when people say, wow, NFT marketplaces are caca, man, this is trash. Well, no, I disagree. I think better days are ahead. Now, let's take a look at BeamOS, a portal for exploring tools and apps on the chain. Yeah, it's all right. It's cool. Not as cool as the others, though, in my opinion. But of course, there's more because we take a look at Beam Block Explorer, a tracking platform for all Beam transactions and statistics. Yeah, I think this is pretty good as well. So really, anyway, you take a look at it, Beam is a very complete ecosystem. I think it's a very complete project overall, to be frank. Oftentimes people like to, say, it's a one-trick pony. It's only focused on gaming. Well, even though, that's one of the primary focuses of Beam, you take a look at how, again, the ecosystem is very amazing. Again, it's not a one-trick pony. But of course, there's more because we take a look at what created / launched Beam in the first place. That's something called the Merit Circle DAO. Now, you may be thinking, okay, what is this, right? What is the Merit Circle DAO? What is a DAO, right? A DAO, if you actually spell it, it's DAO, and this stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. Now, the amazing thing about it is that, this right here is an entity that is designed to be fully autonomous without a single point of control. So you can only imagine that. So for the people out there that say, yeah, we need decentralization, we need more of it. Well, what's, pretty much more decentralized than a DAO? Come on, this is very amazing. Also, take a look at this, right? The rules of a DAO, it's alleged, are established by a core team of committee members and is executed through smart contracts. And to obtain voting power or membership in a DAO, users are typically required to own its governance token, and anyone who does hold Beam can vote. So really, the way I view it is that when it comes to the decentralized aspect of Beam, it's fantastic. Use case is amazing, very diverse. At the price of $1, with all that being said, is it really too outlandish? Is it too crazy? No, I don't think so, because if it were to go to the price of $1, considering its current circulating supply, at that point, market cap would be around $50 billion. Not bad, by the way, even though this may seem kind of daunting, like, whoa, like 50 billion, this is insane. But hear me out, right? You take a look at Dogecoin at one point reached over $80 billion market cap. And come on, Dogecoin, now granted, it does have a lot more fans, a lot more hype. I understand that. But if you take a look at just how amazing Beam is with everything that I mentioned before. Even despite having way less fans, I think it kind of evens out the playing field. And still, right, this is like over $30 billion less than Dogecoin's all-time high market cap. I don't think it's crazy. We've also seen BNB reach over $100 billion in market cap. And come on, I think Beam is just much more dynamic. And why do I say that? Because even just last year, slightly over 2% of the crypto hacks that happened actually occurred on the BNB Smart Chain ecosystem, according to Crypto.com research. So I don't really know about that. If something like BNB can reach over 100 billion, back in 2021, why can't Beam this time around reach, at least around 50 billion? That's like pretty much half of that. I don't see why it's crazy, especially when we consider how this bull run could look so special compared to what we've seen in the past. Because as of right now, more cryptocurrency owners than ever before in history, according to Crypto.com research. So that's very amazing news. You also take a look at how this is pretty much double what we saw back in the peak of the 2021 bull run. So you can only imagine that. If the bull run that year already looked that amazing, imagine this time around with the FOMO, the buying pressure, the buying volume. It's going to be insane. And I really can't wait. It's going to take some time though, because it usually doesn't happen like tomorrow or whatever like that. That's usually not how it works. But before I get into that, I also want to mention how when it comes to Bitcoin, you take a look at the Bitcoin ETF, the number of institutional investors, the amount of institutional adoption. It's amazing for Bitcoin. I think really the sky's the limit. I don't think Bitcoin's going to go to like the price of like $1 million. Of course, I'm being logical. But during this bull run, reaching, 150,000, let's say, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I mean, when you consider the trajectory for Bitcoin, just cryptocurrencies in general, I don't see why not. Now, as Bitcoin does do that, you can only imagine what happens to altcoins much like Beam. They're going to go along with the ride, and Beam at the price of $1. I don't think it's crazy. Now, granted, again, I'm going to harp back as to how soon this might all hypothetically happen. Usually, altcoins, they peak around 6 to 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event, historically speaking. Now, Bitcoin halving event happened back in April. So let's say 6 months, that's October this year. That's best case scenario. I don't think it's going to happen like, this year, but you never know. But let's see we even take a look at the worst case scenario, basically October of 2025, near the end of next year. Is it really that bad? I don't think so, because if anything, it's actually more time for me to accumulate. Now, granted, if it happens sooner, that'd be amazing for me. Time to go to Sizzler, time to go to Applebee's, time to go to Chili's, time to celebrate. But then, let's say it happens a little bit later, fine, because more time for me to accumulate. So I don't see why it's bad either way. Now, of course, it could happen, anywhere in between that. But I'm just saying, that's a worst case scenario. And again, there's also a best case scenario. But again, only time will tell, because history doesn't always repeat itself, but it does tend to rhyme. So again, I'm taking a look at that time frame. Now, you also have to take this into consideration. I'm doing things that are not out of my control, right? Basically, what I mean by that is I'm focusing on things that are within my control, like my belief, my dedication, acquiring, dollar cost averaging. Because other than that, I can't control anything, really, when it comes to Beam. What can I do about it, right? The thing is, I just got to stay patient. Again, anytime an income just accumulating, and just focus on more so about the long term in a sense, because a lot of people, they like to focus on what happens every 2 minutes, 2 days, 2 hours. I could care less about that. I'm focused on what Beam could be, in the peak of this bull run, if that makes sense. And again, at the price of $1, that wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. You consider the trajectory for blockchain gaming more specifically. You take a look at the trajectory for Bitcoin. Also, just how amazing this altcoin season could hypothetically be. And not to mention Beam, a very amazing project. Again, the price of $1, I don't think is insane at all. I think it's very revolutionary. I think it's so underrated because, oftentimes people don't really consider that blockchain gaming could be huge. But once it does, Beam is going to shock a lot of people. And the hype for blockchain gaming, I think it's going to come back in again. It's just a matter of time. And I'm staying patient. Man, again, Beam at the price of $1 during this bull run, that wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.